Last year I put a few strawberry plants in my raised beds, and I know what you're thinking, and you're right. The strawberries took over, and look, they even jumped outside the beds and onto my lawn. This year, Danielle's convinced me to start a dedicated strawberry bed, so I'm looking forward to some major shortcake in my future. So I ordered this prefab bed online because it's multi-tiered and I can fit a lot more strawberry plants in a small space. And I put it in full sun and filled it with a mixture of topsoil and compost. Is there anything else I need to do?
No, it sounds like you did the perfect thing. And the reason being, strawberries are excellent when they're grown in raised beds because they like a really fertile soil, which all the compost takes care of, and they like a really well-drained spot. So raised beds, because they're so well-drained, are the perfect spot. What kind of strawberries did you get?
Oh, I'll go get them.
Oh my goodness, I like your cooked solution to keeping the roots in water. Exactly. This is a nice roasting pan.
So I got two different kinds here. There's Ozark Beauty, which were described as June bearing, and then Tribute, which were described as ever bearing. But I don't understand, why don't I just want ever bearing? It seems like those are the ones that give me fruit all summer long.
Well, see, here's the tricky part. The catalog described the Tributes as ever bearing, but they're actually something called day neutral. Day neutral strawberries give you a decent crop in June and then give you small crops throughout the entire season all the way up to frost. Whereas everbearing, which is a completely different classification altogether, give you one crop in June that's a fair size and then a decent but not great crop that's in later on in the summer. Classic June bearing, which you also have over here with your Ozarks, that's a big wallop of strawberries right in the beginning in June.
So it sounds like I'll have a really big harvest in June and then smaller ones all through the summer?
That's right, yeah, so something to look forward to.
Sounds great. So the only thing is, you remember when I called you when these bare root plants arrived, they looked kind of gross.
I know, sometimes when they go through the mail, they arrive a little rough looking. Looks like you followed the instructions I gave you though to get them to perk back up.
Yeah, I separated them all and cleaned off the nasty looking outer edges, and I set up this little contraption with a cookie rack in a roasting pan to keep the roots wet and the crowns dry.
Yeah, you want to make sure before you plant that you're soaking your roots at least 30 minutes or so. Looks like we're ready to plant. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Show me how.
Before planting, be sure to remove any dead leaves or flowers from your plants and trim back the roots so that they are no longer than 5 inches. Create a ridge of soil in the bed that's 6 to 8 inches tall, at least a foot wide and as long as the bed will allow. Since Sarah's beds are circular, we're just going to make them go in one circular motion around the bed. The trick to strawberries is not planting them too shallow or too deep. Take each plant and locate the midpoint of the plant's crown. Each strawberry should be planted so the midpoint of each crown is level with the soil. Make a planting hole large enough for the roots to spread out and then backfill the hole and press the dirt firmly around the plant to eliminate any air pockets you might have. Plants should be spaced 10 to 12 inches apart. Finally, mulch with some sterile straw around the plants to keep the bed weed-free and to also help keep the soil evenly moist.
Wow, that was like the gardening equivalent of making croissants. Strawberries are really persnickety about how they're planted, aren't they?
Yeah, you don't want them too deep, you don't want them too shallow, but you know what? It's all the upfront work because afterwards we're going to do one little maintenance thing and you just let your strawberries go.
Cool. So what now? Do we water in?
Yeah, absolutely. This first time we want to water by hand.
Not the handy dandy sprinkler system?
No, I love that this bed has this built-in sprinkler. It's going to look like a fountain, but let's water by hand first.
Okay. Okay, so what's this I hear about plucking off all the flowers in the first year? I want to harvest at least some fruit this year.
Don't worry, we'll get a couple of berries for you, but we'll revisit that in a couple of weeks.
Okay.